I don't really post on Reddit. And I made this throwaway because if my parents ever saw this, I don't know what they'd do. I'm not looking for karma. I'm looking for someone, anyone, to tell me I'm not going insane. So, my sister vanished 10 years ago. Her name was Elise. She was 19, I was 16. It was a normal Tuesday. She went out to walk to a friend's house 3 streets away. She never made it. No sign of a struggle. No goodbye note. No dropped phone. Just gone. The police searched everywhere. There were flyers, searches, vigils. They questioned neighbors. Nothing. I remember the smell of cold pizza from the night she disappeared. I remember my dad punching the wall until his hand broke. I remember the silence after, how my mom stopped smiling. I remember all of it. And now I don't know what I'm remembering anymore. Because last week, Elise came home. She just walked in. Through the back door like she'd never left. I was in the kitchen. I turned around and there she was, holding a grocery bag like she'd just gotten back from Tesco. I dropped a plate. It shattered. She flinched, but only slightly. Then she smiled at me. "Hey, squirt," she said. Like it hadn't been a decade. I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. I heard my mum's footsteps first, then her gasp, then a scream. She ran and hugged Elise so tightly I thought they'd both collapse. My dad followed. He didn't scream. He cried. But here's the part that doesn't make sense. The part one can't wrap my head around. No one, not one person in my family, asked her where she'd been. Not once. No, what happened? No, are you okay? No, who took you? Or how did you survive? It's like her disappearance was just skipped over. I tried to ask later that night, once I'd stopped shaking. I sat next to her while she was folding laundry like she lived here again. I said, "Where were you all this time?" She looked at me, tilted her head a bit, and said, "You're so dramatic. I wasn't gone that long." Then she laughed. I thought maybe she was in shock, or had amnesia, or had gone through something awful that made her forget. But she remembers things. She remembers our old dog's name, and the way Mum cuts her toast into triangles, and how I used to get nosebleeds when I was nervous. But she doesn't remember the songs we used to sing in the car. She didn't know our cousin Charlie had died in 2018. She asked why I changed my hair, even though I've had this style for 6 years. And here's the part that's making me feel like I'm losing it. She has no scar. When Elise was 15, she fell off a bike and split her eyebrow open. Needed 5 stitches. The scar was thin and pale but always visible just under her right brow. It's gone. I asked her about it casually. She touched her face and said, "Oh, I guess it faded." No, it didn't fade. It was still there the year she vanished. I remember because she joked that it made her look like a hot anime villain. So what the hell is going on? The more I push, the more my parents get weird. They act like I'm being insensitive or making it about myself. My mum actually told me, "Don't ruin this." My dad won't even look me in the eye anymore. And Elise, she's just settling back in. She's in her old room, wearing her old clothes, watching the same TV shows she liked in 2013 like no time has passed. Like she was never gone. I talked to one of her old friends, just messaged her on Facebook to say, "Hey, Elise is back." The girl responded, "Don't joke like that." When I said I was serious, she blocked me. I don't know what this is. Trauma? A cover-up? A dream I haven't woken up from? Or maybe it's something worse. I'll post an update if anything else happens. But if you don't hear from me, maybe trust your gut when something feels wrong in your own house. Because right now, Elise is humming to herself in the next room. And it's a song she never used to know. Update. 2 days after original post. Thanks for all the replies, DMs, and theories. Some of you made me laugh for the first time in days. Some of you scared the hell out of me. But all of you made one thing clear. I'm not insane. Not completely. Anyway, I said I'd update if anything happened. It did. And now I wish it hadn't. Feist, the reflection. I started watching her more closely. Not in a creepy way. I'm not some paranoid sibling with a grudge, but because something deep in my bones keeps screaming this is wrong. Elise is almost Elise. She gets about 80% of everything right. But it's the other 20% that makes your stomach turn when you catch it in the corner of your eye. The big one. Her reflection doesn't always sink. I didn't want to believe it. It sounds like the kind of nonsense someone posts after a horror movie binge. But 3 nights ago, I was in the hallway. The bathroom door was open. Elise was brushing her hair in front of the mirror. I was behind her, facing her back. Her reflection was facing me. Not fully, just a glance. Barely a flicker. But I know what I saw. She was brushing her hair, but the reflection was paused, watching me. When I blinked, it was normal again. I asked if she needed anything, trying not to sound like I was shaking inside my own skin. She just smiled and said, "You're always so jumpy." I didn't sleep that night. Second the police report. I asked my friend Max for a favor. He works at a local paper and has access to public records. I told him it was for a personal project. He was curious but didn't push. He found the case file. Elise's missing persons report was marked closed in 2017. No explanation. No press release. No recovery notice. Just a quiet, bureaucratic case closed stamp and a note that said, "Subject reclassified, no further action required." She didn't come back in 2017. So why was the case closed? I asked my parents. My mum turned cold and flat out said, "You're digging into things that don't concern you." My dad just stared out the window and said, "It's over now. Let it be over." Let what be over? Third, the envelope. This is the part that truly messed me up. I was in the attic yesterday. I wanted to find an old Yibik proof of Elise's eyebrow scar, pictures of what she really looked like before. Instead, I found a sealed envelope tucked into one of my dad's old boots, handwriting on the front, to be opened only if she comes back. Inside was a short, frantic letter. It was dated March 22nd, 2015, 2 years after Elise vanished. If Elise returns, check her hands, check her eyes. Do not follow her if she goes outside after midnight. She will lie. She will smile. She will say she missed you. That thing is not Elise. Burn this letter after reading. I haven't told anyone I found it. Not even Maximum. It's still in my jacket pocket, folded so tight the paper's almost soft. That night, I stayed up. Around 12:43 a.m., I heard the back door creak open. I peeked through the blinds. Elise was outside, barefoot, walking across the yard. She was smiling up at the sky like she was watching something I couldn't see. She stood there for 7 minutes, then came back in. Didn't speak. Didn't even glance at me. Just went to bed. I don't know what this is. I don't know who or what is living in my sister's skin. But I'm starting to wonder if my parents made a deal. And I think it's time I check her hands. Update 3 coming soon if I make it through tonight. Update. Posted 3 days after last update. I wasn't sure if I should keep posting. I've barely slept. I feel watched in my own home. My lights flicker for no reason. My dog barks at my sister's door but won't go near her. But I promised I'd update. And I found something. More than one thing, actually. I waited until she fell asleep. I know it sounds wrong, sneaking into someone's room at night. But this isn't just someone. This is a puzzle wearing my sister's skin. She sleeps like a corpse. No snoring, no tossing, no murmuring. It's too still. I pulled the blanket back slowly. Her hands were folded across her stomach. They looked normal, until I looked closer. Each fingertip, the very tip, had a faint, almost invisible dark ring, like bruising under the nail, but perfectly circular. I gently lifted her left hand. It was ice cold. And on the palm, right at the center, there's a tiny scar, a line, like an incision, exactly 1 inch long. Perfectly healed. Straight. I checked my old photos from before she vanished. That scar wasn't there. I took a picture. I don't even know why. Maybe to remind myself I'm not imagining it. After that night, I searched the house. Quietly, while my parents were out and Elise was at the store. In the garage, shoved behind years of untouched junk, was a green metal cabinet. Locked. But Dad never changed where he hides his keys. The lock clicked open. Inside, a box labeled Property OFEJ Harper, Elise's full name. It was filled with journals. Dozens. All dated after she went missing. Some were torn. Some stained. All written in her handwriting, but frantic, scared, and full of things that didn't make sense. I've only read 2. Here's what I found. Journal entry, June 4th, 2016. The sky here isn't the same. It's louder. There are no stars, but something watches me anyway. I saw someone today. Looked just like Mum, but she smiled with too many teeth. They say if I behave, I can go home. But not as me. I have to shay. I have to forget. Journal entry, November 9th, 2016. It's starting. I can feel her in my bones when I sleep. I forget my name sometimes. Not mine, hers, the one I'm becoming. I don't want to go back like this, but I think they are sending me anyway. I read those pages 3 times. Each word made my chest tighter. My sister wrote these. From somewhere. Not he. Which means, the girl in our house might not be her at all. Last night, I confronted my mum. Quietly. I just asked, when did you know it wasn't really Elise? She froze. For a moment, she didn't even breathe. Then she whispered, you weren't supposed to see the journals. I asked her what it is. She looked at the floor, at her hands, then said, it's not evil. Just borrowed. We wanted her back. That's all. I asked who we was. She wouldn't answer. She cried, though. The kind of cry that looks like guilt trying to escape your skin. She made me promise not to tell Elise I know. It's safer, she said. She still thinks she's Elise most days. This morning, I found a drawing tucked into one of the journals. It was childlike, stick figures, but deeply unsettling. A girl with long hair standing between 2 mirrors. In one, she was smiling. In the other, her mouth was open too wide. Her eyes were black. Her skin was cracked like old glass. Written in pencil under it. She sees me from both sides now. I don't know what to do. I don't know what she is. But I know she's not my sister. And I think she's starting to suspect that I know. If anything else happens, I'll post again. If I can. Update. 5 days after the last post. I should have stopped. I should have burned the journals. I should have believed my mum when she said, let it be over. But I didn't. And now I know what they did. What they brought home. In one of Elise's journals, near the back, tucked between 2 torn pages, was a folded slip of old receipt paper. On it, a hand-drawn map. I recognized the location immediately. Our family owns a small patch of woodland outside town. It used to belong to my grandfather. We haven't used it since he passed. My parents always told me the shed there was unsafe, that it was filled with rot and mold. The map led there. So I went. Alone. The woods were silent. Not peaceful. Silent. Not a single bird. Not a breeze. Just the crunch of my steps on dead leaves. The shed stood where it always had. Peeling red paint. A rusted latch. But this time, the padlock was gone. Inside, it was freezing cold, unnaturally cold for July. The walls were covered in carvings, thousands of them, etched into the wood, over and over. I am not me. She walks in mirrors. Trade is fey. I remember the black sky. Don't say your name 3 times. I found a mattress on the floor, torn, stained, and beside it a small box. Inside were items I hadn't seen in 10 years. Elise's silver locket, her high school ID, a sketchbook she used to carry everywhere, and a Polaroid, her, tied to a tree, mouth gagged, terror in her eyes. The back of the photo said, "We offered." They answered. I confronted my mum again. This time I didn't ask. I showed her the photo. She broke. Fully. No denial, no soft lies, just everything. Poured out like poison, finally uncorked. After Elise vanished, the grief shattered them. The police gave up. There were whispers that she'd run away, or worse. My parents blamed each other. They drank. They screamed. Then, one night, someone came to the door. A woman in gray. She said, "I can give her back, but something must stay in her place." My parents didn't understand. They didn't ask enough questions. They just said yes. The woman took an old photo of Elise and left. The next morning, a small package appeared on our doorstep. Inside, a candle, instructions, and a name. They followed it. Desperate people always follow. Nothing happened at first. Then, a week later, my mum dreamed of Elise standing in the woods. She called out. Elise turned and smiled. She came back 6 days later. But my mum said something had changed. Her eyes were wrong. Her laugh too sharp. She didn't remember Charlie dying, or her favorite song, or the scar on her brow. She remembered just enough. Mum whispered. Just enough to make us doubt ourselves. I remembered what the journals said about reflections. So I tried it. I set up a camera in the hallway mirror. Hidden, angled perfectly. I asked Elise to help me fold laundry while standing in front of it. I made sure she was talking, moving. When I watched the footage later, I felt sick. She never blinked. Not once. Her body moved normally, but the reflection? It was a step behind. Like a puppet lagging in a broken animation. At one point, the real Elise looked over her shoulder to speak to me. The reflection stared straight into the lens and smiled. Tonight, Elise, or whatever she is, knocked on my door. She asked if I wanted to take a walk with her. Just like old times, she said. Her voice was warm. Familiar. Too familiar. Like it had been practiced. I told her I was tired. She smiled and said, "Okay, maybe tomorrow. Sleep well, squirt." I locked my door the second she left. I shoved my dresser in front of it. She's pacing the hallway now. I can hear her bare feet against the floorboards. Every few minutes, she stops in front of my room. She's humming again. That song she shouldn't know. I don't know if I'll post again. If I do, it means I'm still me. If I don't trust the thing that wears your loved one's face. And never answer the knock after midnight. Update, 6 days after last post. I didn't sleep after my last post. I couldn't. She was outside my door until almost 3 a.m., humming that song. The one she never used to know. The one that didn't even exist until after she vanished. When the humming finally stopped, so did her footsteps. I didn't hear her walk away. I think she stood there, just watching, listening, waiting. But today, I finally stopped running. I found out what she is, and I know what has to happen next. I didn't go back to the shed. I didn't need to, because she came to me. Not the thing wearing my sister. Her, the woman in gray. She was in our garden at sunrise, standing perfectly still beneath the old elm tree. I almost didn't see her. Her dress blended into the fog. When I stepped outside, she looked at me like she'd been waiting for years. She said, "The exchange was completed. The debt is settled. Your parents knew the cost." I asked her what Elise became. What that thing is. She said, "What returns is not what was taken. It is shaped by memory, not soul. It mimics the space left behind." She called it a reflection shadow, a being drawn from memory, shaped by longing. It can only stay where it's believed, where its identity is fed. The moment someone stops believing, it begins to unravel. That's why my mum panicked when I questioned her. That's why my dad won't look me in the eye. That's why Elise keeps trying to bond with me. She needs me to believe. If I don't, if I reject her completely, she'll lose form. And that's when the other side comes calling. I went back and reread the journals. Every word. At the back of the last one, written messily like it had been rushed, was a new entry I hadn't noticed before. If you're reading this, then she's already home. But it's not me. Not really. I'm still here. Pieces of me. I dream sometimes. I try to scream through the mirror. But I don't think it works. She wears me well, doesn't she? Please, don't let her stay. Even if it means I'm lost. I'd rather be gone than this. I read it out loud. I wanted to make sure the house heard me. The walls felt colder after that. Tonight, just after 11 p.m., She knocked on my door again. But she didn't hum this time. She whispered, "I know you're awake." Then, "You're drifting. I can feel it." Then, very softly, "Don't you love me anymore, squirt?" And that's when I did it. I opened the door. She stood there, still barefoot, wearing my sister's old hoodie. Her face was almost perfect, but her eyes were black. No iris, no white, just a glossy, empty dark. I said, "You're not Elise." She twitched, like the words slapped her. I repeated it. Louder, "You're not Elise. You never were." She blinked, slowly, and her face bent, like her skin didn't quite know how to hold the shape anymore. She said, in a voice that cracked, "I can be. Just let me be her. Just believe. Please." And then the hallway lights flickered. Something behind her, in the shadows, moved, a shape taller than the doorframe. Wrong. Crawling without limbs. She screamed, not in fear, in anger. Her face split, actually split, a deep, vertical crack from forehead to chin, like she was breaking open. I slammed the door. It's quiet now. She's gone. No footsteps, no humming, no whispering. I checked the hallway an hour ago. There was a trail of ash. It led from my door to the front of the house and vanished. My parents are still asleep, or pretending to be. I don't think they'll speak to me after this, but I'm okay with that. They brought something back that never should have crossed over. They wanted a daughter. They got a reflection, and I destroyed it by refusing to believe. I don't know where my real sister is. Maybe gone. Maybe dreaming through shattered mirrors in some place I'll never see. But I hope, if any part of her is still out there, she knows I tried, and I hope whatever came for the shadow will keep it far, far away. Forever. If you ever lose someone and they suddenly come back, don't ask how. Ask why now. And look them in the eyes. Really look, because if they don't blink, run.